Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole pile of the latest articles, research, add our own insights, and really boil it all down to the most important bits of knowledge for you. Our mission. Pretty simple, really. We want to give you a genuine shortcut to being properly well-informed. Hopefully packed with some surprising facts and maybe just enough humor to keep you listening. Today is July 22nd, 2025. And honestly, the global picture right now is, well, it's a vivid mix. Complexity, contradictions, some really profound shifts happening all at once. We're seeing these incredible scientific breakthroughs that could genuinely reshape our future. But that's happening right alongside the enduring and often quite heartbreaking realities of global conflict. Economic tides are shifting, human stories unfolding, quiet wins, public tragedies, it's all happening.
It really is. And our goal today in this deep dive isn't just to sort of list what's happening. We want to really unpack these complexities for you, try and connect events that might seem separate, and hopefully shed some light on the deeper why behind the headlines. We aim to give you a balanced, engaging exploration, help you understand the powerful forces shaping our world right now.
Okay, so let's dive right in then. We're starting today with some genuinely groundbreaking developments, things that could redefine our relationship with the planet and maybe even beyond. First up, get ready for potentially a radical change in how we think about everyday materials. We might just be waving goodbye to plastic as we know it. Scientists at Rice University and the University of Houston have developed a new sustainable material. And it's already being called, well, nothing short of a super material. And the really fascinating part, it actually comes from bacterial cellulose.
Yeah, and what's truly revolutionary here isn't just that it's eco-friendly, although that's huge. It's the ingenious method behind how they make it. They're using a process called dynamic biosynthesis technique. Now, try and picture this. They're essentially guiding these cellulose-producing bacteria, getting them to align themselves in a very specific, organized way while they grow. So this isn't just random bacterial growth, it's precise bioengineering, and that allows them to significantly boost the material's mechanical properties right at the fundamental level.
And when you look at what it can actually do, the capabilities, that's where the aha moment really hits, isn't it? This material has impressive mechanical strengths. It reaches up to 553 megapascals when they combine it with boron nitride nanosheets. Now, just to give you some context for that, that actually surpasses the strength of many traditional metals. Even glass. Think about that for a second. A material basically made from bacteria that's stronger than steel, or, window panes.
And it doesn't start there. Beyond just being incredibly strong, it has superior thermal properties, too. It dissipates heat something like 3 times faster than conventional materials.
Wow.
Which means, potentially cooler electronics, more efficient energy transference systems. And the kicker is, despite all these advanced properties, it remains completely biodegradable, meaning it can just return to nature without leaving a trace behind.
It sounds like something out of science fiction, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Stronger than metal, better with heat, and it just composts away. So what are the real-world implications here? I mean, where could we actually see this super material showing up?
Oh, the potential applications are enormous, really, across so many industries. Imagine structural materials for sustainable building components. It could revolutionize how we construct our cities. Or thermal management systems leading to cooler, more efficient electronics, and everything from, say, our phones to massive data centers.
Right.
This could lead to entirely new types of textiles, maybe. Fabrics that are both strong and sustainable, and even advanced energy storage systems, potentially making batteries safer and greener. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this development could fundamentally alter global supply chains for things like plastics and metals. It might decentralize production, maybe democratize access to high-performance components. It feels like a pivotal moment, really, for both environmental conservation and material science. It offers a real pathway out of the global plastic pollution crisis we're facing.
It's incredible to think about the positive ripples this could have for the planet. And it's not just, a couple of scientists in a lab on their own. This groundbreaking project has significant backing from entities like the National Science Foundation and the U.S. Endowment for Forestry and Communities, which really underscores the power of collaborative science, doesn't it? Especially when focused on tackling these critical global issues. Okay, so from the microscopic world of new materials, let's pivot to the ever-evolving and sometimes, frankly, overwhelming world of artificial intelligence. AI. The UK, for instance, is making a significant push here. The US tech firm OpenAI, you probably know them from ChatGPT, they're collaborating directly with the UK government. The plan is to integrate AI into public services.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the dual nature of this, the promise and the challenge sort of bundled together. The stated aims are certainly positive, advancing societal well-being, boosting economic growth through maybe better efficiency, better service delivery. But it raises a really important question for you listening. When you integrate advanced AI into sensitive areas like public services, how do you navigate the critical ethical stuff? Things like data privacy, potential algorithmic bias creeping into decisions, establishing clear accountability when things go wrong. These are complex issues, and they need really careful thought as the tech rolls out.
Absolutely. And while Western nations are sort of grappling with these integrations, China isn't just sitting back and watching. They seem to be leading the charge with some significant advancements of their own. Moonshot AI's Kimi K2 artificial intelligence model, that's backed by Alibaba Group Holding, has gained significant popularity among industry experts. And this isn't just another chatbot, it's technically sophisticated. Apparently boasts 1 trillion total parameters. Now, just for context, think of parameters as like the sheer number of variables and connections the AI can learn and process. It makes it incredibly complex and capable.
Yes, exactly. And Kimi K2 also uses something called a mixture of experts architecture. This basically means it's designed with specialized expert modules within the AI. Each one is proficient in different types of tasks. This lets Kimi K2 be incredibly powerful while actually using computing resources far more efficiently. And the so what here is pretty significant. Experts are praising Kimi K2 not just for its raw power, but for its cost-efficient approach to AI training and inference. This could signal a major shift, potentially, in the global AI development strategy, maybe making advanced AI more accessible and affordable to a wider range of developers and businesses.
That makes sense.
Its practical applications are already being shown off, things like detailed salary analysis, complex trip planning, and it's gaining global recognition, too. It's apparently outperforming notable competitors in recent benchmarking reports, which, really speaks volumes about China's growing prowess in the AI race.
That's truly incredible, democratizing access to that kind of powerful AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a game changer for countless industries. And speaking of accessibility, Latent Labs just launched a new web-based AI model. This one is specifically aimed at democratizing protein design.
Now, this is a revolutionary step for biotechnology. Historically, designing new proteins has been, incredibly complex, really time-consuming. You needed highly specialized expertise, extensive lab work. This new AI model makes it far more user-friendly, much more accessible.
Right.
It means researchers, scientists who maybe didn't have the resources or that deep specialized knowledge, they can now explore and design proteins with much greater ease. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, its potential for breakthroughs in biotech, pharmaceuticals, other industries that rely on protein design, it's immense. It really emphasizes this accelerated convergence we're seeing of cutting-edge technology and fundamental life sciences.
But, as often happens, with great technological advancement comes, greater threats sometimes. We're also seeing a concerning rise in cybersecurity incidents globally. It underscores the vulnerabilities that come with being so digitally reliant. For example, a major German media group, Südwestdeutsche Medienholding, or SWMH, they've fallen victim to a hacker attack, described as a critical IT security incident, and it's now under investigation by police cybercrime units over there.
And that's not an isolated incident, unfortunately. Both Google and Microsoft have issued warnings about Chinese hackers exploiting a zero-day vulnerability in SharePoint. SharePoint is, that widely used web-based collaboration platform many businesses rely on.
Right, and zero-day means?
It means it's a newly discovered flaw, one that the developers haven't had time to patch yet. So that makes it particularly dangerous. These incidents, taken together, really underscore the escalating, pervasive threat of cyber attacks globally. Especially when they target large organizations, critical infrastructure. It just highlights the constant need for robust cybersecurity measures, vigilant data privacy protocols, and enhanced operational security to safeguard against these increasingly sophisticated threats.
Clearly, the cybersecurity arms race is heating up. It's even influencing how businesses operate day to day. TechCrunch Disrupt 2025 was apparently highlighting how artificial intelligence is compelling even late-stage startups to completely, quote, rewire their go-to-market strategies or GTM strategies just to stay competitive. So in essence, it means these companies are fundamentally changing how they sell, how they market, how they distribute their products and services, all because of this increasingly AI-driven world.
Yeah.
The whole new ballgame out there, isn't it? Where AI isn't just a tool anymore, but it's actually disrupting core business models.
Absolutely, a fundamental shift.
Okay, from the microscopic world of new materials and the digital world of AI, Let's gaze skyward. Look at space exploration's next steps. There's some exciting news about potentially quieter skies ahead. NASA, that's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, their X-59 quiet supersonic research aircraft just successfully completed its first low-speed taxi test. That was at U.S. Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale, California.
Yeah, this is a significant milestone. It's the first time the experimental aircraft has actually been powered up and moved under its own steam. It marks the beginning of the final series of ground tests before its very first flight.
Okay.
And the X-59 is absolutely crucial to NASA's Quest mission. The whole point of that mission is to demonstrate quiet supersonic flight capabilities. They want to minimize that traditional loud, ear-splitting sonic boom into something much subtler, more of a tolerable thump, as they call it.
A thump. I like the sound of that better already.
Right. Imagine commercial supersonic travel becoming a viable option, even over land, without disturbing communities below. It's really about opening up new possibilities for faster air travel globally.
A thump instead of a boom. Yeah, I really do like the sound of that. And for those much, much longer journeys, pushing humanity deeper into the cosmos, NASA is also testing a new type of power system. It's a radioisotope power system, or RPS, heat source fuel, Americium-241. This could be used for incredibly long-duration space missions, potentially powering probes, maybe habitats, for decades. They're doing this in partnership with the University of Leicester over in the United Kingdom.
The technology behind this is actually quite elegant and robust. It uses something called a free piston Stirling converter. This generates electricity from the heat produced by the natural, predictable decay of these radioisotopes. The successful test proved the viability of an americium-fueled Stirling RPS. It met all the performance and efficiency targets they set. So what this breakthrough means is that expanding humanity's reach further out into the solar system becomes significantly more feasible, perhaps powering long-term outposts on Mars, maybe? Or missions to the outer planets where solar power just isn't strong enough, really extending humanity's presence across our solar neighborhood.
Fascinating stuff. But speaking of space, even the most experienced players in the business face challenges sometimes. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launch, carrying the O3BM power satellites, that was scrubbed just 11 seconds before liftoff. It's been rescheduled now for a backup window.
Yeah, and this is just a stark reminder, isn't it, of the inherent complexities involved, the incredibly narrow launch windows you have in these highly technical space missions. Even for a company as experienced and, frankly, innovative as SpaceX, pushing technological boundaries comes with its share of challenges and occasional very public setbacks. It really highlights the immense precision required, the countless variables that need to align perfectly for a successful launch. It just shows the fine margins of error in space operations.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move now from the frontiers of science to the often tense, incredibly complex landscape of geopolitics. We need to confront the enduring crisis in Gaza, Palestine, and Israel. There's been significant international movement here recently. More than 24 countries, including key players like the United Kingdom, France, Japan, they've issued a joint statement demanding an immediate end to the conflict in Gaza.
Yes, and their collective call stems from, quote, the deep suffering of civilians, and what they explicitly describe as the inhumane killing of civilians seeking basic needs like water and food. The joint statement specifically calls for a negotiated ceasefire, the immediate release of captives, and, crucially, the free flow of humanitarian aid. It also critically assesses Israel's current aid delivery model as insufficient, stating it deprives Gazans of human dignity.
And the UK specifically.
Well, the British Foreign Secretary specifically emphasized the urgent need for a lasting ceasefire and stressed the importance of sustained diplomatic efforts. Additionally, the UK has reportedly suspended dozens of arms licenses to Israel, although some critics argue these measures don't go far enough given the scale of the crisis.
So how is Israel responding to this mounting international pressure and, frankly, condemnation?
Well, an advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has sharply criticized the joint statement, called it wrong and dangerous, and claimed it undermines ongoing negotiations with Hamas, said it was disconnected from reality. So this response firmly highlights the deeply entrenched positions of the parties involved and their starkly differing interpretations of the conflict's dynamics and what needs to happen next.
And what about the United States perspective? We're hearing some interesting things there.
Yeah, sources are indicating the Trump administration views Prime Minister Netanyahu as, quote, a madman who is actively undermining diplomatic efforts in the region. Apparently, the U.S. was caught off guard by recent Israeli airstrikes on Syrian government forces and also a recent attack on Gaza's only Catholic church. Yes, President Trump reportedly reached out directly to Netanyahu to address these situations, which certainly indicates a strain in the relationship. And domestically within the U.S., there are intense internal divisions as well. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's office in the U.S. was vandalized recently after a House vote regarding U.S. aid to Israel. The vandalism was attributed to pro-Palestine protesters, which just highlights how deep the emotional and political fault lines run within the United States on this issue.
Wow. And Hamas. What's their position amidst all this?
Hamas, on the other hand, is reportedly demanding a full and permanent ceasefire. They want a complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza and robust international guarantees on reconstruction efforts afterwards. So this outlines a pretty significant gap in demands between the warring parties and also between them and the various proposals coming from the international community. It makes finding any resolution incredibly difficult.
And all the while, the humanitarian catastrophe just continues to unfold in real time. The picture is just dire. The United Nations reported that several of its facilities were hit. A guest house was raided by Israeli troops in Gaza. Israeli forces also targeted the World Health Organization's staff residence in its main warehouse, which obviously impacts critical aid operations. And reports say at least 65 people were killed in these attacks as Israel sent tanks into Deir el-Balah.
The severity is just... it's hard to grasp. It's further underscored by a UN expert on food who has explicitly condemned Israel's actions. They labeled the starvation of Palestinians as a war crime, stating unequivocally that, quote, starvation is knocking on every door.
A war crime. That's incredibly strong language from a UN expert.
It is, and reports are also indicating that Gazan reporters, the people on the ground trying to document these horrors, are now facing severe malnutrition themselves, untreated illnesses. And the conflict has tragically led to what's being called Gaza's generation of amputees. Just a truly heartbreaking long-term consequence.
It's awful. And if we look at the broader regional context, the instability in Syria continues to simmer, doesn't it?
Yes, there's currently a fragile ceasefire holding in Syria's battle-scarred Sueda province. That's between Druze fighters and Bedouin militia. This highlights the ongoing plight of the Druze sect, who are tragically caught in the crossfire of this wider regional instability, often just struggling for survival amidst shifting alliances and conflicts.
So this deeply complex, constantly evolving situation in Gaza and the wider Middle East, it raises a really important, multifaceted question for all of us, doesn't it?
It does.
In a world where you have these deeply entrenched conflicts, how can diplomatic pressure and humanitarian concerns be effectively balanced with national security interests, especially when those interests are seen as existential by the parties involved? And what is the international community's true actionable role when faced with such dire circumstances and positions that seem just intractable?
It's a question without easy answers, absolutely, but one that demands our attention constantly.
Okay, moving on to other significant shifts in domestic and international politics. We've seen a major political shakeup in Japan. Prime Minister Yoshihide Ishiba's ruling coalition, that's the Liberal Democratic Party and its partner, has lost majority control in both chambers of Japan's parliament. It's the first time since 1994. They fell short by 3 seats in the upper house. It's a significant blow for the government.
Yeah, it is. But despite this electoral defeat, Ishiba has vowed to remain in office. He says his focus will be firmly on domestic issues like wage increases and also pursuing trade deals with the United States. This political shift comes amid significant economic challenges for Japan, though. Things like persistent inflation, potential tariffs on Japanese goods coming from the U.S., and there's also ongoing pressure from the U.S. on Japan regarding its economic relationship with China. Plus, criticism from Russia about recent U.S.-led military drills with Japan and South Korea in the region. So it paints a picture of Japan navigating increasingly complex geopolitical currents while facing these internal political headwinds.
Right. Now, over in Germany, there's a new and, well, highly controversial migration policy taking shape. The German government has controversially permitted Taliban representatives to assist in the deportation of Afghan migrants.
Wow.
Yeah. This decision marks a significant shift in Germany's approach to handling deportations. It's a move away from their previous policy.
Unsurprisingly, this decision has sparked considerable and quite heated debate. Critics of the policy argue that involving the Taliban, a group with a, let's say, deeply problematic human rights record, could have unpredictable consequences and ethical implications. They're questioning the morality and the practicalities of engaging with such an entity.
You think so?
But proponents state it is a practical step. They say it's needed to streamline deportation procedures and improve efficiency. suggesting it's a pragmatic approach to a complex problem of managing migration flows and ensuring an orderly process for those whose asylum claims are rejected.
Practical versus ethical, a tough line to walk. Now over to United States politics. It's, as usual, a mixed bag. Transparency efforts, shifting immigration policies, and some truly unconventional diplomacy going on. First, the Trump administration has released thousands of government files related to the assassination of the civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. These include FBI Federal Bureau of Investigation records. This comes despite strong opposition from his family, who apparently feared the release might damage their father's legacy or maybe perpetuate harmful conspiracy theories. While initial reviews haven't yet shown new details on the long-standing FBI surveillance of King, the action itself has certainly sparked significant controversy and discussions about the motives behind releasing this now.
Yeah, the timing is interesting. And on the immigration front, the Trump administration has initiated deportation proceedings against U.S. legal permanent residents who are accused of supporting a designated Haitian terrorist organization called Viv Ansem. This move cites concerns over regional instability in the Caribbean and the role of diaspora networks in transnational crime. The legal basis is rooted in Section 237A.4 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which broadly addresses the deportability of aliens involved in terrorist activities.
Okay.
Rights groups, however, have quickly raised concerns. They're worried about the broad criteria being used to label organizations as terrorist and the potential for a lack of due process for those accused. It's a debate that's expected to fuel discussions right through the upcoming 2026 election season.
Right. And then there are these, well, truly bizarre diplomatic incidents that highlight the ongoing tensions with China. A United States government employee who was visiting China for personal reasons has been barred from leaving the country under an exit ban. Washington is closely monitoring that situation.
An exit ban. Wow.
Yeah. And this alarming incident follows reports of another U.S. citizen facing a similar ban. It's contributing to escalating tensions between Washington and Beijing over accusations of espionage, trade secret theft. It's a clear demonstration of how quickly personal situations can become international incidents in the current climate.
Absolutely. And perhaps even more bizarre, certainly unconventional, is what's being dubbed vodka diplomacy.
Vodka diplomacy. Okay. Tell me more.
An informal diplomatic approach has been revealed. Apparently, a lunch between a high-level U.S. official special envoy John Cole and Belarusian President Lukashenko. Reportedly, it involved vodka shots. And this lunch played a surprisingly crucial role in securing the release of 14 Belarusian opposition figures.
You're kidding. Vodka shots secured their release.
Apparently so. This informal, direct diplomacy completely bypassed traditional State Department channels. It highlights a unique, if rather unorthodox, engagement strategy in a challenging geopolitical context where maybe formal channels are blocked or just ineffective.
Wow. Sometimes the old ways work, I guess. Or the unorthodox ways. Okay, speaking of international bodies, the U.S. is planning to withdraw from UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Again.
Yes, for the second time under the Trump administration.
Right. The administration has cited several reasons for this move, including alleged anti-Israel bias, Chinese influence within the organization, and UNESCO's perceived promotion of, quote, divisive causes, woke causes, and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies.
This withdrawal carries significant implications, doesn't it, for U.S. involvement in international cultural and scientific initiatives. It's really a continuation of a pattern of disengagement from certain multilateral institutions that the administration perceives as counter to American interests, or maybe aligned with agendas it fundamentally disagrees with. It raises questions about the U.S.'s commitment to global cooperation in areas like heritage preservation, education, scientific collaboration.
Okay, shifting focus now to Ukraine. There's a multi-layered struggle happening there, isn't there? Both internally and externally, as the nation continues to navigate this horrific conflict and attempts at rebuilding. The Group of Seven, the G7 countries, and the European Union have collectively expressed concerns about Ukraine's anti-corruption bodies in Kyiv. This comes after developments where Ukrainian lawmakers actually voted to undermine the independence of these very agencies, which has been widely described as a step back in crucial reform efforts.
Yeah, and to compound that internal struggle, a high-level Russian mole inside the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, ANIU, was arrested, and several other ANIU employees are currently under investigation.
A mole inside ANIU.
Apparently so. This highlights the deep challenges of internal corruption and, frankly, foreign influence that Ukraine faces, even as it tries to fight on the external front. However, the new Ukrainian Prime Minister, Yulia Sviridenko, has notably downplayed concerns about corruption. She stated it's being overemphasized, despite widespread public belief within Ukraine that it remains rampant. So this tension between perception, political maneuvering, and the actual fight against corruption, it's a critical internal dynamic shaping Ukraine's future.
Definitely. And on the external front, military aid remains obviously a critical topic.
Yeah.
Germany has committed to significantly increasing military aid to Ukraine. They're providing Patriot air defense systems, additional air defense ammunition, and funding for Ukrainian-made long-range drones. This commitment follows President Donald Trump's statement that Washington would continue supplying weapons, but only if European, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries paid their fair share.
Right.
Yet Ukrainian President Zelensky continues to voice frustration. He complains that Western backers are too slow to send money and crucial equipment.
And this ongoing aid issue really highlights persistent divisions within the European Union itself. Major economies like France and Italy have notably opted out of direct financial support for Ukraine, preferring to contribute through other mechanisms. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has been particularly critical. He stated that the European Commission's budget proposal is solely tailored to Ukraine's needs and could, in his view, quote, destroy the European Union by overcommitting resources. So that demonstrates a deep split in strategic priorities and financial willingness within the EU regarding the conflict.
Wow. Russia, meanwhile, is maintaining a pretty firm stance on any potential negotiations, right?
Yes, the Kremlin stated it does not anticipate a miraculous breakthrough in the upcoming peace negotiations with Ukraine. That's even as a third round of talks is scheduled in Istanbul. Russia continues its offensive actions on the ground, and in retaliation for the 17th and 18th EU packages of sanctions, Russia has imposed entry bans on numerous European officials and entities involved in military aid to Ukraine. They've significantly expanded their blacklist.
Right.
The Kremlin also critically commented on the deployment of U.S. tactical nuclear weapons to the UK's RAF Royal Air Force Lakenheath base. They labeled it nuclear militarization and effectively ruled out a summit of the Nuclear Five, that's Russia, China, U.S., UK, and France, which further escalates the nuclear rhetoric.
Goodness. And amidst all this, we're seeing the complexities of what people often call the information war.
A New York Times report by photographer and reporter Nana Heitman, focused on the failed Kursk invasion, provided a detailed account of the devastation there. But it faced significant criticism from Ukrainian officials. They accused the report of spreading Russian propaganda, despite many seeing it as presenting a balanced view from the ground.
Interesting.
Yeah, this incident really highlights the intense sensitivity and the deeply entrenched biases that exist in the ongoing narrative battle, where even objective reporting can be viewed through a lens of suspicion.
Turning now to the United Kingdom, there's a new migration crackdown underway there, aimed at stemming unauthorized crossings of the English Channel. The UK is set to freeze assets and impose entry bans on individuals facilitating these unauthorized small boat crossings, specifically targeting organized smuggling networks. This move aligns with agreements with Germany and France to strengthen migration cooperation across Europe. But locally, the issue is also sparking tensions. Protests regarding asylum seekers in Epping, UK, gathered over 1,000 people recently, prompting the local council leader to warn they need to be brought under control.
This is a truly multifaceted issue, isn't it? It touches on national security, complex ethical considerations around human rights, and the sheer practicalities of managing large-scale migration flows. It reflects a global trend, really. Many countries grappling with similar complex migration challenges, trying to balance control and security with their humanitarian obligations.
Absolutely. Beyond these major flashpoints, there are several other notable political developments worth touching on quickly. They highlight the diverse political challenges happening around the world. In the Caribbean, Dr. Keith Rowley, the former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, was briefly detained in Antigua and Barbuda. Why? Because his name appeared on an Interpol, International Criminal Police Organization watch list.
Oh.
He denounced this as a deliberate attempt at political persecution, suggesting maybe some internal Caribbean political rivalries at play.
Interesting. And in Argentina, while the 10th anniversary of the Ni Una Menos' movement against gender violence recently passed, the political landscape there has shifted significantly. Under President Javier Milei, often described as an anarcho-capitalist, the Ministry for Women, Gender, and Diversity was actually dissolved.
Dissolved?
Yes. And simultaneously, indigenous Mapuche women in Argentina are now reportedly facing aggravated persecution. Things like raids, surveillance, arrests, accused of violating the rule of law. This raises serious concerns about the rollback of social protections and the treatment of minority groups under this new administration.
Yeah, that sounds worrying. In South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has removed the higher education minister, Malcolm-Jamal, and appointed a replacement. This comes amid accusations that the minister misled Parliament about board member appointments to a training entity. It's raising concerns about political influence and nepotism within the South African government.
And in Slovakia, former Prime Minister Robert Fico is employing strong anti-EU rhetoric. Many analysts interpret this as a diversionary tactic, to shift attention from domestic issues and consolidate his political base. It's a common political strategy we see in many nations. Meanwhile, Mozambican President Daniel Chapo is planning a visit to Russia. The aim is to strengthen diplomatic ties and cooperation in various sectors: fishing, maritime development, energy, with specific discussions planned on using national currencies in trade to reduce reliance on Western financial institutions, which indicates a growing trend of developing nations exploring alternatives to Western financial systems.
Interesting pivot there. Down in the Philippines, Sara Duterte, the daughter of former President Rodrigo Duterte, has strongly condemned the International Criminal Court, the ICC, for meddling in her country's affairs. She demanded the release of her father, who was arrested on charges of crimes against humanity related to his controversial and very deadly anti-drug campaign.
Right, that underscores the ongoing tension between national sovereignty and international justice mechanisms, doesn't it?
Yeah. And in Zimbabwe, the High Court recently overturned sections of the Patriotic Act. They deemed severe penalties for certain offenses excessive. This ruling sparks broader debates on whether patriotism can or should be legislated, highlighting that delicate balance between national loyalty and individual freedoms, a discussion relevant far beyond Zimbabwe's borders.
Absolutely. And back in the United Kingdom, a Senedd politician, Laura Ann Jones, has defected from the Welsh Conservative Party to Reform. Nigel Farage announced it. It marks a notable shift in UK regional politics, potentially signaling broader realignments within conservative political movements.
And back again in the United States, House Speaker Mike Johnson controversially shut down the chamber early, apparently to avoid a politically fraught vote on the disclosures of Jeffrey Epstein-related files. Yeah, drawing criticism from various sides. This happens as the Justice Department continues to seek a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell as part of that ongoing investigation.
And finally, we're also observing the rise of the Japanese first far-right movement in Japan, marked by increasingly vocal nationalist and anti-immigration sentiments. It's a growing phenomenon, emphasizing prioritizing Japanese interests above all else, often fueled, it seems, by underlying economic anxieties and social uncertainties within the country.
Right. And just for a lighter, maybe more anecdotal political point to end this section, President Trump is reportedly involved in discussions about the Washington Commanders' name and the RFK Stadium deal, apparently urging the team to revert to their former Redskins name.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. He really wants his teams to be named what he wants them to be named, doesn't he? It's just fascinating how these cultural and historical debates intersect with politics at every level, even down to sports team names.
It really is. Always something.
Okay. Let's turn our attention now to global economic currents and some of the social signals that are shaping everyday lives and influencing our collective future. The markets have been on a bit of a roller coaster ride lately. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq initially reached record highs, spurred on ahead of big tech earnings reports, generated a lot of investor excitement. However, later updates showed those indexes retreating from the records, mostly due to declines in chip stocks and some mixed earnings reports from other sectors. It's a delicate balance out there, isn't it? Shows just how quickly market sentiment can shift.
Indeed. It vividly reflects the sensitivity of market sentiment to specific corporate performance, particularly in that high-tech sector, and how quickly those record highs can just transform into profit-taking or corrections based on new data. It really underscores the volatility inherent in today's interconnected global markets.
Definitely. Now, in the oil and gas sector, Japan's MODEC is significantly increasing its investment in Guyana's offshore oil. They're establishing a new hub in Georgetown, which really highlights Guyana's rapidly growing importance in global energy supply chains. It's emerging as a key player in the global energy market.
Yeah, and this isn't just a simple investment, it's a major strategic move for them. MODEC has secured a contract from ExxonMobil Guyana to build a second FPSO vessel that's a floating production storage and offloading vessel. This one's for the Hammerhead project, and it aims to handle up to 150,000 barrels per day.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. And this initiative is expected to create over 160 local jobs initially, significantly integrating Guyana further into the global offshore production network. The new vessel also incorporates technological advancements, like using gas turbines to cut emissions, which aligns with Japan's broader focus on energy efficiency and global decarbonization objectives. And all of this is happening within the framework of Guyana's Local Content Act of 2021, which aims to ensure Guyanese businesses and citizens actually benefit from this oil boom.
Sounds like a pretty well-rounded investment then, combining local economic impact with those global environmental goals. Good to see.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's some optimism bubbling up in Germany's economy. The Made for Germany Alliance, that's a consortium of German companies, has pledged investments totaling $1 billion over the next 3 years.
1 billion euros.
Yeah. German companies are showing considerable optimism that this initiative will significantly boost the economy and create some much-needed jobs.
And in a related, strategically important note for Europe, the mining firm Rare Earths Norway claims to have discovered Europe's largest proven deposit of highly prized rare earth elements.
Really? Largest in Europe?
That's the claim. This provides newfound hope for the European Union's rare earth supply chain independence. These are critical strategic resources in today's technological landscape, aren't they? Essential for everything from electric vehicles to advanced defense systems. This discovery could potentially reduce Europe's reliance on external, often politically sensitive supply chains, so big deal if it pans out.
Absolutely. But the global economic picture isn't all rosy, particularly when geopolitics starts intruding on corporate bottom lines. General Motors, GM, reported a significant reduction in profit due to what they explicitly called a $1 billion tariff hit.
$1 billion. Ouch.
Yeah. This caused its shares to decline, and it was largely attributed to Trump's tariffs on various goods. The GM CEO stated the automaker is actively working now to greatly reduce its tariff exposure, which just demonstrates how political decisions can directly hit corporate profitability and force these strategic adjustments.
Absolutely. This incident powerfully highlights the direct economic impact of trade policies and how global supply chains, corporate profitability, they're just inextricably intertwined with geopolitical strategies and international trade relations now. Companies are forced to adapt to these macro-level political shifts.
And here's a story that ties politics and consumer goods together in a truly unique way. Coca-Cola is set to release a new version of its soda, specifically approved by former President Donald Trump.
Approved by Trump. How does that work?
Well, it will contain cane sugar, and it's launching in the U.S. this fall. This decision apparently follows directly from Trump's public push for Coke to revert to using cane sugar, something he advocated for during his presidency. This comes as Coca-Cola's overall earnings have actually surpassed estimates. Yet, the stock experienced a slight decline. Why? Weakening global sales volumes in the second quarter, although that was partially offset by strong demand for soda in Europe and continued success with their zero-sugar sodas. It's quite the flavor profile, isn't it? Politics literally mixing with pop.
Strange times.
We're also seeing the meme stock phenomenon resurface again, reminding us of the powerful, sometimes chaotic influence of retail investors. Kohl's stock experienced a significant surge recently that actually led to a trading halt, and it's now been identified as the newest meme stock. Its shares jumped by 30% amidst chaotic trading activity, predominantly driven by retail investors coordinating online. It's wild out there. Shows how fundamentals aren't always the driving force, are they?
It definitely highlights the burgeoning influence of retail investors and these online communities on market dynamics, sometimes significantly decoupling stock performance from traditional corporate fundamentals. It represents a fascinating and, at times, unpredictable new force in financial markets.
And now for what sounds like a truly delicious legal battle. South Carolina shrimpers have filed a lawsuit against 25 restaurants. For what? Alleged shrimp fraud. They claim deceptive practices are threatening their entire industry.
Shrimp fraud.
Shrimp fraud. I mean, a crustacean crisis. Who knew that was on the menu for today? It just shows how even seemingly small-scale industries can face big challenges from fraudulent practices.
It's certainly a unique angle on business litigation, isn't it? But it speaks to the very real challenges faced by local industries against alleged mislabeling or fraudulent practices that undermine their livelihoods and, frankly, consumer trust.
True, true. On a more serious note in the financial world, there's been a high-profile financial ruling. A judge has ruled that the estate of the late tech tycoon Mike Lynch and his business partner owe HP Enterprise £700 million.
700 million pounds. Wow.
Yes. It's a significant sum, and it concludes a very long-running, complex legal battle.
Yeah, that's a landmark judgment in a protracted legal battle, showcasing the immense financial stakes involved in these complex corporate disputes and the intricate challenges of international business law and accountability for past dealings.
Okay, let's transition now to the cost of living and public services, something impacting people daily across many nations. Analysis suggests that monthly rental costs in the United Kingdom have risen by an astonishing £221 a month.
Per month in 3 years, closely matching the rapid pace of mortgage increases. And adding to that strain, food bills are projected to rise by another $275 a year, forcing households to make significant adjustments, often, trading down on brands or opting for simpler, less expensive meals just to cut costs. This just paints a clear and concerning picture of the ongoing cost of living crisis in the UK, doesn't it? Where essential expenses like housing and food are increasing at rates that significantly outpace income growth for many families, leading to substantial financial strain and ultimately a diminished quality of life.
Yeah, it's tough out there. Infrastructure projects are also feeling the pinch of escalating costs. The Sizewell C nuclear power plant in the UK is now facing costs estimated at an eye-watering $38 billion.
$38 billion.
Billion, with a B. And controversially, households are said to contribute £1 a month towards its construction through their energy bills.
Oof. And government borrowing in the UK was notably higher than expected in June, primarily due to a significant increase in debt interest payments. These payments actually exceeded the rising income from taxes and national insurance contributions, which indicates ongoing fiscal pressures on the government as it manages its national debt and public spending.
The healthcare system in the UK is under severe strain too, isn't it? A 5-day doctor strike will controversially go ahead in England. The British Medical Association, the BMA, rejected a plea from the health secretary to call off the walkout. And the BMA warns that patients are being put at direct risk by NHS National Health Service. England's plan to maintain non-urgent services during the strike, it just highlights the deep-seated issues within the healthcare system, from funding to staffing levels.
Yeah, this industrial action really highlights those deep-seated systemic issues, funding shortfalls, staff retention, and the critical direct impact that such disputes and walkouts have on patient care and the wider public.
And there's been an important update on the infected blood compensation scheme in the UK, that long-standing historical injustice. Substantial changes have been announced for the scheme. This follows a highly critical report on previous payments to victims. And notably, eligibility has been extended now to include employees of one of FADE's private airline companies, which marks a significant step towards finally, hopefully, fully addressing this historical injustice and ensuring all victims are compensated.
That's good news. Long overdue.
Now on to crime and justice. Some high-profile cases are making headlines. A U.S. police officer involved in the 2020 shooting death of Breonna Taylor, Brett Hankison, has been sentenced to 33 months in prison for violating her civil rights. The judge emphasized the seriousness of the offense, notably rebuffing the prosecutor's request for a much shorter, basically a one-day sentence.
Yeah, this case continues to highlight the ongoing complex challenges in police accountability and racial justice in the United States, and the sentencing reflects the immense societal pressures and legal intricacies involved in seeking justice in such high-profile, emotionally charged cases.
In other high-profile legal news, the U.S. Justice Department is reportedly seeking a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the associate of the late Jeffrey Epstein. This is part of the ongoing investigation into Epstein's vast network and related activities.
Right. And we have a curious case of international espionage. A British man, Howard Phillips, who allegedly dreamt of being like James Bond, has been found guilty of attempting to spy for Russia by passing on details about the former UK Defense Secretary, Sir Grant Shapps.
Really? Trying to be James Bond.
Apparently. This reflects a real-life case of espionage with notable implications for national security and intelligence operations.
Closer to home in the UK, we're hearing about truly brutal crimes that just shock communities. A man in Bradford, UK has been jailed for life for murdering his wife while she was pushing their baby in a pram. Just a horrifying act of domestic violence.
Awful.
And another article delves into brutal murders involving bodies found in suitcases, raising disturbing questions about identities, motives, and the ongoing efforts of law enforcement to solve these complex cases.
These tragic events just underscore the pervasive nature of serious crime, unfortunately, and the relentless efforts of law enforcement to address it and bring justice to victims, while also highlighting the societal issues that can contribute to such violence.
And finally, concerning migrant rights in the United States, Deeply troubling reports allege degrading treatment and abuse of migrants at Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE detention centers in Miami.
Oh, dear.
This includes disturbing accounts of detainees being forced to kneel to eat like dogs. Human Rights Watch specifically highlights instances of medical neglect and inhumane conditions faced by detainees within these facilities.
These are incredibly serious allegations. They raise significant human rights concerns and underscore the urgent need for greater transparency, oversight, and accountability within detention facilities to ensure the humane treatment of all individuals, regardless of their immigration status.
Absolutely crucial. Okay, shifting gears now to social and cultural notes. Some truly fascinating insights from around the globe. Data from India's National Action 4 indicates that at least 77% of India's 38,000 sewer and septic workers are from the Dalit community.
77%?
Yes, underscoring deeply persistent caste-based occupational disparities and the immense social challenges that remain despite progress.
That data starkly highlights deeply entrenched social inequalities, doesn't it? Still impacting occupational structures and human dignity in India, revealing systemic issues that often go unaddressed in everyday life.
On a more hopeful note, though, for conservation, Eurasian otters, which were long believed to be extinct in Kashmir, have actually been spotted in the region's waters.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, this has sparked both excitement among environmentalists and apparently some wariness among residents. But environmentalists see this resurgence as a wonderfully positive sign, suggests improving water quality, healthy aquatic habitats, and decreased poaching efforts. Offers a glimmer of hope for nature's resilience.
It truly is a remarkable comeback story for nature. A testament to environmental recovery efforts and the resilience of wildlife populations when conservation measures are put in place and actually work.
And for all you dog lovers out there, get ready for another reason to hug your furry friend. A new study has uncovered a surprising benefit of having a dog.
Oh, more benefits?
Apparently so, indicating that dogs may have a more profound and biologically complex impact on humans than previously thought. So your furry friend might be doing even more for your well-being than just chasing squirrels in the park.
It reaffirms the growing scientific understanding of that deep human-animal bond, doesn't it? And its physiological and psychological benefits, extending far beyond just companionship into tangible health improvements.
On a more concerning public health front, though, an imminent public health threat for rabies has been issued in Nassau County in the United States.
Rabies?
Yes, cases are rising among raccoons and feral cats. This marks the reemergence of the deadly disease in a previously rabies-free county, prompting urgent public health warnings.
Yeah, that's a critical public health alert. Requires immediate attention, robust public awareness campaigns to prevent transmission to humans and domestic animals. It highlights the constant vigilance needed to control these zoonotic diseases, particularly in urban and suburban areas.
Absolutely. And finally, for a bit of a feel-good, easy-to-do fitness trend that seems to be gaining traction. Japanese walking.
Japanese walking.
Yeah, it's described as a fast and efficient, low-impact workout method, suggesting individuals can get in shape with just 30 minutes of walking a day. And it's even been deemed more effective than simply reaching that often-cited 10,000 steps goal.
Interesting.
Maybe we should try it out after this deep dive. Get a Japanese walking in.
A practical and accessible way to improve health for many, certainly. Promoting consistent activity over arbitrary step counts, perhaps. Sounds sensible.
Okay, let's cap off our deep dive today with a look into the vibrant world of arts, sports, and some captivating human interest stories that make our world so rich. First, in the realm of entertainment, there's been quite an upheaval in late-night television in the U.S., the surprising cancellation of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, that was big news. And it wasn't just a quiet cancellation, was it? There was immediate, very public fallout, including a blunt, very direct message from Colbert aimed squarely at Donald Trump. Go fuck yourself.
Right. That certainly got attention.
It did. And it sparked an outpouring of support from fellow comedians like Jimmy Fallon and David Letterman, who made cameo appearances on his final show. It raises broader implications, really, for the landscape of late-night TV, indicating maybe shifting audience preferences, intense political polarization, and the ever-present economic pressures facing traditional broadcast formats.
It certainly makes you wonder about the future of late-night TV and how hosts will continue to navigate the political climate. On the big screen, there's blockbuster buzz around the Fantastic Four, First Steps. A review highlights Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby leading a new crew, with the ambitious aim of breaking the Marvel property's long-standing 6-decade curse of, well, less than stellar cinematic adaptations.
Yeah, this is a significant attempt, isn't it, to revitalize a beloved but often troubled franchise. The critical reception and box office performance will be key. Marvel's aiming to reignite fan interest and overcome those past cinematic disappointments, trying to prove that these characters can finally find their footing on the big screen.
Fingers crossed for them. In the music industry, there's a fascinating intersection happening with the financial markets. Music giants Taylor Swift and Drake are reportedly filing to list on the U.S. stock market.
Listing on the stock market themselves.
Apparently so. A move coinciding with two major U.S. share indexes reaching new record highs. It's a clear sign of how integrated entertainment and finance are becoming, with artists and their intellectual property increasingly seen as investable assets.
It reflects a growing trend, doesn't it? Major entertainment entities, even individual artists, seeking public investment. Not just through traditional record deals, but by directly tapping into capital markets. It diversifies their revenue streams and really consolidates their financial power within the broader economy. And additionally, in a long overdue development, record labels have agreed to boost what some musicians called insulting pay, including songwriters now being paid for attending recording sessions for the first time, finally recognizing their creative contributions more fairly.
That's a huge step forward for artists. Really good to hear. But on the flip side, we have an event disappointment story that sounds truly dreadful, like something out of a bad dream. The Elvis experience in the United Kingdom, costing ticket holders up to £300.
£300?
Yep. Has been branded atrocious and misleading by attendees. They expressed profound disappointment over unmet expectations. They thought it was a hologram show and are now demanding refunds.
Oh, dear.
I mean, for £300, what were they expecting? A personal serenade from the king himself, maybe? A quick trip to Graceland included? It sounds like a classic case of hype just not meeting reality at all.
It certainly sounds like a clear case of overpromising and underdelivering, leading to significant consumer dissatisfaction and perhaps a lesson in managing expectations for these high-cost entertainment experiences.
Definitely. On a more somber note, we received news of the tragic death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, widely known for his beloved role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. He died at age 54.
Oh, no, that's terrible news.
Yeah, reports confirm he drowned while swimming off the coast of Costa Rica.
This tragic incident serves as another stark reminder, unfortunately, of the U.S. travel advisory warnings about dangerous rip currents frequently found in Costa Rica, and the critical importance of observing swim safety tips, even for experienced swimmers. Tributes are pouring in from colleagues and fans across the entertainment industry, mourning the loss of a beloved actor who brought joy to millions. Just very sad.
Very sad indeed. Okay, in global sports updates, there's been a flurry of high-profile football transfers, signaling strategic moves by major clubs. Manchester United have signed Brian Mbeumo from Brentford for an initial fee of £65 million. The winger expressed excitement at fulfilling his dreams of joining the club he admired growing up.
$65 million. Big money.
Big money. Leeds United have secured Germany midfielder Anton Stach from Hoffenheim in a £17 million deal. And Arsenal is also reportedly close to a deal for Sporting striker Victor Gyökeres after intense negotiations over add-ons.
These transfers really highlight the high stakes, don't they? And the significant financial investments within professional football as clubs strategically bolster their teams for competitive seasons, aiming for both domestic and international success. It's a massive global business, and these player movements represent colossal investments.
Absolutely. In women's football, which continues to gain incredible momentum globally, England is set to face Italy in the Women's Euro 2025 semifinal. Italy are aiming to make history against the formidable Lionesses. Supporters of the Lionesses are showing intense passion ahead of the match, which is just fantastic to see. Speaks volumes about the growing popularity of women's sports.
It really does. However, there are still significant challenges in women's sport. The communications body Ofcom has been warned by Sport England that toxic online abuse poses a considerable threat to ongoing efforts aimed at increasing female participation in sports.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. It's a critical issue that needs to be addressed to protect athletes and encourage greater engagement and growth in the sport.
Definitely. On the tennis court, the legendary Venus Williams, at 45 years young, made a winning return in women's doubles at the Washington Open. This was after a 16-month absence.
45.
Amazing, isn't it? Highlighting her incredible endurance, resilience, and just inspiring career. What an athlete. She truly defines longevity in professional sports.
Her ability to compete at such a high level at that age, especially after a significant break, is truly remarkable, a testament to her dedication, physical prowess, and enduring passion for the sport.
In other sports news, quickly. The world of rugby union saw the British and Irish Lions narrowly escape defeat in Melbourne, secured a hard-fought 24-19 victory over the First Nations and Pacifica XV, though few players truly pushed their test claims during the match. In cricket, India captain Harmanpreet Kaur scored a century, and Deepti Sharma made a sensational one-handed catch against England in the third one-day international.
Ooh, nice catch.
Yeah. Amidst the action, though, India captain Shubman Gill criticized England for acting against the spirit of cricket due to perceived time-wasting tactics. Always some drama.
Always. And in the fast-paced world of Formula One, speculation is circulating about whether Aston Martin could emerge as a dark horse contender to sign the dominant driver Max Verstappen, potentially shifting the competitive landscape. In NBA National Basketball Association's Summer League highlights, we saw stand-up performances from young talent, including Flag's impressive play, some new hope for the struggling Charlotte Hornets, and the impactful play of Chinese giant Yang Hansen. And finally, player disputes continue to plague professional sports. Trey Hendrickson is refusing to report to Bengals camp amid a contract dispute. Reports suggest the Bengals have offered him only 1 year of guarantees, highlighting the complexities of athlete contracts. And Crystal Palace has submitted an appeal against their demotion from the Europa League to the Conference League with the Court of Arbitration for Sport, reflecting the high stakes of international club competitions.
Always something happening in sport. Lastly, let's touch on some broader community, culture, and recognition stories that highlight positive developments and human endeavors. Reggae Sumfest 2025 in Montego Bay, Jamaica was apparently a huge success, featuring a vibrant mix of reggae royalty and rising stars, including a truly significant moment with a memorable performance by a 12-year-old singer named Emma, signaling new talent emerging on the scene.
12 years old. Fantastic. On the note of community and dedication, Jamaica-born immigrant advocate Irwine Clare, Senior OD, he founded Team Jamaica Bickle, is being honored with the prestigious Visionary Award. That's at NBA star Jalen Brunson's third annual charity golf classic. It's for his exceptional dedication to developing Caribbean student athletes, recognizing his long-standing commitment to empowering youth.
That's wonderful. And in education reform, Dr. Nadine Bryce, a Fulbright Award recipient, is leading a transformative research effort to revolutionize the teaching of history in Caribbean classrooms. The aim is to shift the focus dramatically from just rote memorization to critical thinking and inquiry-based learning. That's a powerful shift, isn't it? Teaching students how to think, not just what to think.
It's a progressive move, definitely. Recognizing the evolving needs of students in the 21st century. Aims to foster deeper engagement and analytical skills in how history is understood and applied, encouraging a more nuanced and critical understanding of the past.
Finally, a local hero shout-out. Lenape High School Principal Tony Katani was named the National High School Principal of the Year, a well-deserved recognition for leadership in education. And a quick note from the royal family. A new photograph of Prince George has been issued by Kensington Palace to mark his 12th birthday, a little glimpse into the life of the future monarch.
Right. And in a fascinating blend of history and modern technology, archaeologists in Norway have uncovered a lost medieval village. They combined a 500-year-old clue with cutting-edge georadar techniques. It highlights how modern scientific tools can unlock ancient mysteries, literally unearthing the past beneath our feet.
Amazing stuff. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've journeyed through an incredible breadth of topics today, haven't we? From the astounding promise of new supermaterials and the cutting edge of AI, to humanity's ongoing reach into the far depths of space exploration. We've confronted the harsh realities of global conflicts, particularly the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the complexities surrounding Ukraine. We've navigated the dynamic currents of world economies. And through it all, we've found inspiring human stories of perseverance, achievement, and vibrant cultural celebration.
Our mission here at The Deep Dive is always to try and bring clarity and essential context to the overwhelming amount of information out there, helping you connect the dots and truly understand the powerful forces shaping our world. We sincerely hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable insights and left you feeling, well, more informed.
As you go about your day, here's a provocative thought for you to maybe mull over. Given the simultaneous rapid progress we're seeing in scientific innovation, like the AI breakthroughs, the new materials we discussed alongside the persistence of these deep-seated geopolitical conflicts and devastating humanitarian crises, what does this tell us about humanity's profound capacity for both remarkable creation and, sadly, profound destruction? How do these seemingly disparate stories connect to paint a larger, more complex picture of our world today? And what responsibility do we, as informed citizens, bear in shaping its future trajectory?
Food for thought, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We look forward to exploring more of the world's most important stories with you next time.